a detailed guide to planning your next vacation to the island of Kauai in Hawaii. I'm Chris. This is Yellow Productions. I do travel guides that are fun, informative, and entertaining. This video, it's a live stream. If you're on the live stream, I look forward to answering your questions, hearing what you think about the island of Kauai. But today, what we're going to do is I'm going to start by answering some of the common questions about Kauai. Things like where should you stay? How long should you stay? Do you need a rental car? Where should you stock up on supplies? Definitely, what should you eat? And then I'm going to go neighborhood by neighborhood and show you all the things you should see in Kauai, what's connected to what's around other things, because a lot of travel guides talk about some of the big things to do, but what can you see together? And even though it's an island, it's a pretty big island and there's a lot to see, and you can't easily do it all in one day. There's so much to do in Kauai. You could easily spend a couple weeks in Kauai to see, and particularly to hike it all. So Kauai, this island right here, is the fourth most popular island in Hawaii. The visitor numbers to Kauai, it gets 1.3 million visitors annually. If you compare it to Oahu, Oahu gets 6 million. If you compare it to Maui, Maui gets 3 million, 1.7 million for the Big Island. So 25% less visitors come to Kauai than to Maui. 75% less. My math in public is not one of my skills. It's a small number of residents live on this island. About 70,000 residents live on Kauai. There are more chickens that live on this island than people. When I describe Kauai to people, I describe it as rural and rugged, lush, jungly. If you've seen the movie Jurassic Park, Kauai has that kind of feel to it. Why? Because Jurassic Park was actually filmed on Kauai. It's more local, it's more laid back, but much of Kauai's treasures require an arduous hike and an arduous hunt to find it, because 90% of Kauai you cannot get to by roads. Looking at the island again, roads basically circle the outside here and not so much in the middle, and not so much up here on this shore. But we'll talk about what you can see on all these areas, and we'll talk about some of the beaches. The beaches in Kauai, they're beautiful, but the best ones also require a long hike. And so I'm going to talk about some of my favorite beaches that you can get to, that are easy to get to, that don't require lots of hiking, and that are good for swimming. The other con about Kauai is there's like zero nightlife, like at nighttime, pretty much the place shuts down, things close, and then if you're flying, which you're going to fly unless you're swimming, but flying into Kauai, there are definitely less flights going into Kauai than Oahu or Maui. Though many of the airlines have been starting to offer direct flights, we actually took direct flights when we went from United out of LAX, so I definitely recommend you look at direct flights if you can find one. Otherwise, you'd end up connecting in Honolulu. And Rod Guy says, in addition to there being more chickens, there's also more pigs. So thank you for that. I didn't know that tip, so I learned something new from my fellow explorers every time I do a live stream. Okay, so the first set of the questions I want to hit is, where should you stay when you go to Kauai? And you're going to have to make a decision where you want to stay geographically. Again, looking at this island, from Princeville here, which is roughly kind of the northern resort part, down here to the South Shore, it can take you a couple hours to drive from here to here. And so you need to decide where you want your home base to be. Now, the North Shore up here around Princeville, this is the more scenic side. This is the part that looks most like Jurassic Park. It has the big mountains, but it rains the most. You might want to consider the Westin or the Princeville Resort in Princeville if you're staying there. Down on the South Shore over here, there's better weather down here. It's sunnier, it's drier, there's more tourist amenities because just more people stay down on the South Shore, hotels, shops. I really like the Grand Hyatt down here. There's also a good Sheraton down here as well. Then over here, you might want to stay on the East Shore. This is known as the Royal Coconut Coast, centered around Wailua, the old town of Wailua. And then there's a few hotels near the airport, former Marriott, now a Sonesta. And then there's also a really couple like fancy big hotels that are over down here. They're kind of like apartment apartment type stays down here by the airport, the Timbers Hotel. So an interesting thing though is that in Kauai, no building can be taller than a palm tree. So all the buildings are just a few stories, except for that former Marriott, now the Sonesta. It's a lot of stories. I think that got built, and people said that looks ugly, so we want everything to be short. So the hotels are going to be big, sprawling hotels. Now, next question I often get about Kauai is how long should you stay? And I would recommend no less than 5 days. I feel like often people who do Hawaii and don't like it are people who try to island hop and try to stay not enough time on each island, so they end up seeing nothing. Part of going to Hawaii is really experiencing island time, being laid back, soaking it in, and just the time it takes to get in and the time it takes to get out. I'd recommend no less than 5 days. If you've got more than 5 days, you can consider splitting your time between the South Shore and the North Shore, or maybe the Eastern Shore. You know, stay in a couple different hotels because it does take a while to transit back and forth. That way you can just kind of experience more of Kauai as a local. Now, people always ask me, Chris, do I need a rental car? And on the island of Kauai, you definitely need a rental car. I'm somewhat wishy-washy about Oahu. I'm more adamant about Maui, but in Kauai, I'm adamant you need a rental car to get around, period, the end. Unless you're planning to just stay in the resort and never leave, because the areas where the hotels are just aren't walkable. There's no real public transit infrastructure. There's maybe 2 Uber drivers that drive the whole island and lousy cell phone service to call them, so you need a rental car, which makes it challenging to go right now because rental car prices are sky high. So first thing you should do, probably before you book your plane tickets, is booking that rental car because you'll need one on Kauai. And you'll definitely need your hiking boots because, as I mentioned earlier, over 90% of the island cannot be accessed by car. And so if you really want to see some of the best parts of Kauai, you got to get your hiking boots on and you got to get off-road. Now, where should you stock up on supplies? Well, the place that you're going to be coming into Kauai right here where the airport is in Lihue, this is the commercial center of Kauai. You can see the airport's right here. And this is where all the big box stores are. You'll find a Costco, you'll find a Walmart, Long's Drugs, Safeway. You will not find a Target. There are 3 ABC stores on Kauai, which is not as many as the 34 just in Waikiki. You'll find a few of them. We'll talk about where they are later. But there is one of them here by the airport, down by the Marriott, and 2 over on the Coconut Coast. Now, I often also get asked where to eat. So before we get into the island tour, the last one I'm going to cover, and then we'll start exploring all the different neighborhoods. And I saw in the live chat before we got started, somebody said, I hope Chris is going to talk about Bubba's Burgers. And Bubba's Burgers is my #1 recommendation right here. I like burgers. I like In-N-Out Burger. On some of the other islands, I recommend Teddy's on Oahu and Maui, but on Kauai, I recommend Bubba's. This is the local Kauai burger, and they only use Kauai grass-fed beef, and they also do not put lettuce and tomato on the burgers because lettuce and tomato, not grown locally, has to be flown in. They'll give it to you for $1, but they really don't recommend it. And I'll tell you, you honestly don't need that lettuce and tomato on the burger. The beef is that good. That's what it looks like. You can eat it at the restaurant. They got 2 locations. You can take it to go, eat it at the beach. Pretty good view. Now, I also like Coconut's Fish Cafe. This one originates in Maui, but they have locations on Kauai, and they specialize in fish, particularly fish tacos. Then, in addition to having like a tomato salsa, also kind of have like a tropical vibe and have a mango salsa on them. They do really good coconut breaded shrimp. I highly recommend this one. And also pretty decent fish and chips as well. My favorite things to get there are in that order: the fish tacos, the coconut shrimp, and then the fish and chips. If hot dogs are more your style, you can get the Kauai local hot dog at Puka Dog. This one, they recently moved locations. They're now over by Poipu Beach, which is like a central spot you're definitely going to go if you go to Kauai. And they specialize in Kauai-style hot dogs. What's a Kauai-style hot dog? Well, first of all, instead of a regular bun that you eat sideways, this one they hollow out the bun and put a Polish sausage in it, and then they give you some tropical relishes to go on it. So you order off a surfboard menu that looks like this, and then when you pick your relish or your sauce that goes on it, you get your choice of mango relish, pineapple relish, papaya relish, coconut relish, banana relish, or starfruit relish. And you can also get it with ketchup and mustard, and they do a pretty good lemonade as well. So I definitely recommend you check that out. And my friend Chris K from the channel Hello from Hawaii, he lives on Oahu, but Kauai is his favorite island. He recommends Hamura Simon. He says he would fly to Kauai just to eat at Hamura Simon. It's essentially the Hawaiian equivalent of ramen noodles, instant noodle, that sort of thing, but with a Hawaiian twist to it. So those are my 4 recommendations to eat right off the top. I want to get into the neighborhood guide as we're going to go around and explore different parts of the island. But before I do that, let's dive into a few of the chat messages. Alex is on the stream, and Alex says, "Hey there, Chris. I'm not kidding you. Today's topic is exactly what I was going to suggest you do." Well, Alex, good minds think alike. What am I drinking today for the Hawaiian-themed video? I've got my Hawaiian shirt. I've also got a rainbow-colored drink right here. This is Brew Dr. Kombucha. It was actually for Pride Month, but it's rainbow, and we're talking about the Rainbow State, so I figured that would be perfect. This has lavender, chamomile, and jasmine tea, and since it's a kombucha, it's lightly bubbly. Now we see Chris is on the live stream today, and he says Hamura Simon, worth it. Awesome. Thank you for the recommendation. I have not eaten there. I need to eat there next trip. I'll make that our first stop. Jonathan points out there seem to be far less Japanese tourists in Kauai than Oahu when I was there last. Very true. There are significantly less Japanese tourists in Kauai. I think because Japanese tourists generally don't like to drive. They don't like rental cars. They like more organized tours. And so they definitely love Oahu the most, probably followed by Maui the second. All right, great. And Briggs says he is hungry now. Good deal. All right, and Kelly agrees that Hamura Simon is so worth it. All right, so thank you for those echoes. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the island tour, and we're going to go around the different parts of the island, but we're going to start over here in Lihue, which is the commercial center of the island. This is where the airport is that I mentioned. So this is where you'll arrive. This is where you'll depart. This is where you'll stock up. This is where you will eat on the cheap here as well. The food in Kauai, not that cheap. Actually, lots of pretty expensive eats. And so, because this is the commercial district, this is where you'll find it for good prices here. Can you read where it says Lihue on that? I zoom in too much, and then it goes away. So I won't zoom in quite that much. All right, now. This is also where the cruise ship port is. When cruises restart, if you're cruising in Kauai, you'll dock here. I mentioned the tallest building, what used to be the Marriott, now the Sonesta is here. Let's take a look at what that looked like. This is from our last trip to Kauai a few years ago. So I'm going to insert a few of these videos in so you see it, not just hear me talk about it. This is about 2 minutes. We're going to be looking at that Marriott. We're going to be looking at this beach right here, and then I'll come right back to you, and then we'll head over and check out the west side. Kalapaki Beach in front of the Kauai Marriott is a popular beach that is fairly protected for the water, so this is a great place to swim. It's a sandy bottom, not too many currents here. It's also a really popular place for stand-up paddleboarding. Also around this beach is the famous Duke's restaurant, and there's a number of other restaurants and shops right in this area as well. So just, and you can see it's a big wide sandy beach, pretty peaceful and open. All you have to do is find the Marriott, which is this big building right up here. It's kind of ugly and pink, you can't miss it, but that's the Marriott, and this is the beach. So check this one out for just a nice beach. Right next to the beach in the Anchor Cove Shopping Center is one of 4 Kauai locations of the ABC stores. Stop here to pick up all your sundry needs and Hawaiian souvenirs. Kauai has quite a few more beaches, but I don't have time to talk about them all in this video. If you want to know more about Kauai's best beaches, then you'll want to watch my video on the best beaches in Kauai. You'll find the link in the description or as one of the cards attached. shameless plug. Yes, I've got more videos on Kauai. So if this video itself did not satisfy your Kauai cravings, I've got a whole playlist of a whole bunch of other videos that these little clips are sourced from. So the other thing you will find, oh, and by the way, that beach right here that we were looking at was this little cove right here. Now, the other thing you'll find in Lihue is you will find Kauai's really only traditional type shopping mall called Kukui Grove. It's a small little shopping mall, but if you're looking for clothes, Macy's is here, so you can pick those up at Macy's. All right, so now let's go ahead and zoom out, and let's go ahead and head over to the west side over here. The west side, that's like Waimea is the most famous thing here. We'll talk more about Waimea in just a second. This is about an hour drive from the airport if you're driving out here. And Waimea is one of the most scenic canyons in the world. It's a 3,000 foot deep canyon, and I've got a video to tell you about it. In the video, I share with you that Waimea Canyon is free to go in. And by the way, see on this map here, you can see this big canyon that runs through here, right? It is free. It was free to go in a couple years ago. Now they actually charge money to go in. $5 admission fee, $10 parking fee, but so worth it. Let's take a look at Waimea Canyon.
The biggest attraction on the island of Kauai is the Waimea Canyon. Biggest in size, one of the most popular too, but it is 10 miles long, 1 mile wide, and 3,600 feet deep. This canyon was created by the eruptions of the volcano, the different layers of sediment, different eruptions by the volcano. Mark Twain is commonly considered to have called it the Grand Canyon of the Pacific, though he actually never visited Kauai, but that's the island legend. And so come up here to view this legendary attraction. It is free admission, free parking. You want to allocate about a half day to come up here because it's a bit of a drive from the main part of the island. You'll be going up to a high elevation. It can be about 10 to 15 degrees cooler up here. This is the first lookout. It's the Waimea Canyon lookout. There are more lookouts as you go. This one's at mile marker 10 on the road. They go up to mile marker 19. And also the major parking lots have bathrooms, so you don't have to hold your bladder too much. Definitely make it to the last lookout at mile marker 19. It's right here, and the views here are breathtaking. There's this valley down below. You can see the undeveloped coastline, the soaring mountains. It's really neat, and I'm sure the video doesn't do it justice, which is why you can't just watch my videos to travel, but you have to come to Kauai to see it. In addition to lookouts, if you're into hiking, Waimea Canyon has lots of great hiking paths as well. Though, because it is very wet, make sure to bring shoes you don't care about all that much, because the path can get pretty muddy. Though these trails are not for those afraid of heights. It is a long way down from here.
And Kathy says, don't try the road to Hana, too many turns. Speaking of roads, so the road to Hana is a long, twisty road. This road to see the lookout in Waimea Canyon is also a fairly long road. I mentioned it's by mile marker 19 as you go on there. Now, I've turned on the roads layer so you can see a bit more of the roads in here, and I'm going to get rid of this little sidebar layer. But you can see now here with the yellow, these are where the roads are around Kauai, the major roads. So you can see there are not really any roads in the center. And then from Waimea to go, you don't really go in Waimea Canyon, you go on the top of it. So the canyon's down here, and then the road through the park takes you up this way along this ridge over here, 19 miles in to then, check out, right. So that picture down at the end was right basically here where the road ends, and you get this little viewpoint, and you get this little parking area, and then it turns into a trail. So that's kind of that neat canyon. I think one of the quintessential pictures to take when you are in Kauai. All right, so let's zoom out here a little bit more, and then the other things in that park, there's lots of hiking paths. There's 45 miles of hiking paths. But the other thing that people come over here to see is this area called the Nepali Coast. This is the undeveloped coast of Kauai. The only way you're going to see this coast, because you notice this road and this road, they don't connect. So the only way you're going to be able to see this is if you hike here, if you fly here, if you take a boat here. The most popular ways are definitely boat tours and helicopter tours. The boat tours and helicopter tours of the Nepali coast leave leave out of some harbors here on the west side. In particular, right here from Port Allen, right here, you see the little airport, and you see these little docks. So if you're going to take a boat or helicopter tour, the Nepali coast is going to be here. And it's in front of this little town called Hanapepe. Hanapepe is the island's art capital. It has eclectic galleries, shops, eateries lining the street. It is known as Kauai's biggest little town. And when I point out that there's no nightlife, this place falls asleep at night. And they have like regular, maybe like art walks once a month or something like that. A lot of different towns in Kauai have different festivals or farmers markets, and so I would definitely take a look at timing your visit and seeing those different things in the areas. All right, so this brings us now to the South Shore, which is roughly this part of Kauai. You can see it's got almost the most roads and the most number of icons that are appearing on here because I mentioned this is Kauai's biggest tourist amenity area. It's home to my favorite beach down here where you see Poipu Road, Poipu Beach. And so let's take a look at what Poipu Beach looks like right there down on the beach.
And this is the Poipu Beach Park. It is on the South Shore, kind of in the center of the South Shore, amongst a lot of the hotels and resorts.
This is one of Kauai's idyllic beaches, one of the most popular on the South Shore of Kauai. It's two crescent-shaped beaches, nice sand. The sea turtles often come up here. It's protected by a rock jetty, which also makes it good for snorkeling when it's not too windy. There's also an island in the middle that protects some of the waves as well. There's ample parking, bathrooms, a lifeguard tower. Oh, and did I mention there's wild chickens? There's wild chickens in most of the beaches in this video.
All right, let's go check out some of the other easy beaches to park and swim at.
Those other beaches you'll find in the best beaches in Kauai video. But the great thing about if you stay in Poipu is that the hotels are right on the beach. They're right on these sandy beaches, so that's super convenient. Even if you don't stay right in these hotels, you stay in an Airbnb or timeshare, then it's easy to get here because the parking's super close by. And as I mentioned, the hot dog place is right down here as well. So you can get your burgers right here. And if you were considering the Grand Hyatt Hotel is this sprawling complex over here. The beach in front of it is called Shipwreck Beach. I've got a review of this if you want to check it out. This beach is not as good for swimming because there's pretty big waves, but it's just a short 15-minute walk from there down to Poipu Beach, which has the kind of protected coves that do have pretty swimming. Chris says the other thing to get in Hanapepe is some of the best taro chips. Well, thank you for that, Chris. I remember you mentioned that last time, so thank you for reminding me again in this video talking about Hanapepe so everybody can see it here. And Kurt says, don't miss the Beach House restaurant at sunset in Koloa. Thank you for that tip, Kurt. Jenny Fide says, hey, Chris. Hey, Jenny Fide, welcome to the live stream today. Points Traveler recommends Keoki's in Poipu, and also that Jack Charter, I don't know, but Jack's helicopter tour with no doors is the way to go, clearly for the adventurer, absolutely. And J.R. Horn says, is this place better than Maui? It depends what you're looking for. If you're looking for nature, if you're looking to get away from people, then this place is better than Maui. If you're looking to hike, this place is better than Maui. If you're looking to just eat at restaurants and go to luau's and stay in really high-end hotels and be pampered, then Maui is probably the place for you. And if you're looking for nightlife, it's definitely Maui over Kauai. Okay. The other kind of big thing over here is the spouting horn. There's a blowhole over here, and the blowhole makes it sound like a lizard. So let me show you and let you hear what that sounds like.
If you like blowholes, and who doesn't like blowholes, check out the Spouting Horn Park. Here there are 5 different blowholes. The main blowhole, right back there, there's an observatory to see it. It makes a moaning sound when it squirts. And the moaning sound is owed to the Hawaiian legend that this part of Kauai was once guarded by a lizard, and so That's the sound of the lizard that guards this part of Kauai. There's also a little flea market selling trinkets and souvenirs. You can check that out, though you might find better souvenirs on other parts of the island.
Okay, so some other good things down here. There's Bubba's Burgers that I mentioned before. You'll find this place called the Shops at Kukui Ula. You'll find Old Koloa Town, which has shops in old plantation buildings. I should show you on the map where that is because we heard a recommendation on Koloa. But if you're basically driving into this Poipu region from the airport, you'll pass through Koloa right here. So it's kind of this old like sugar factory, plantation buildings. And then this road, the 520 that you go through, has an interesting, they call it a tree tunnel, where there's like all these trees that are planted on the side, and it does really feel like a tunnel of trees that you drive down. There's a whole bunch of eucalyptus trees. They're planted over 100 years ago, and so they're neat, big eucalyptus trees. All right, let's go ahead and now make our way to the East Coast over here, or the Royal Coconut Coast. It's referred to as the Royal Coconut Coast because of the coconut palms that grow around here. It is the most populated district of the island, centered around Wailua and Kapa'a. And 16,000 of the roughly 70,000 residents live right around here. So most developed. You'll also find a lot of the good cheap eats around here as well. Now, just north of Lihue Airport, kind of right around here, is Wailua Falls. Number of waterfalls in Kauai, but this is one of my favorite because they're some of the most easy to access. You can just drive your car right up and take a look at them. You can leave your hiking boots behind. Let's take a look at these waterfalls, Wailua Falls.
The second biggest attraction in Kauai are waterfalls. It rains a lot here, and so there's a lot of waterfalls. The coolest waterfall that's really easy to get to are the Wailua Falls. You can just drive right up to them. You can see right back there, there's a parking lot, and here's the observatory right on the side of the highway. And these waterfalls is really cool because you can get up very close to them. You can feel and hear the waterfall. These waterfalls at 173 feet actually are taller than Niagara Falls, though not quite as much water coming off of them. And back in ancient times, people used to jump off these waterfalls as a test of manhood. I'm sure if you searched on YouTube, you could find other people jumping off of them. And I was offered by a local here that if I jumped off, he would put me on YouTube and make me famous. So we'll just have to wait for that in another video. And while it is possible to get up real close to the falls or down to the bottom, technically not allowed. So if you're a city slicker like me, just stay at the observatory where it's safe and dry.
There was a little cameo by the OG Topher. Kathy points out we were supposed to go to Kauai, but we were disappointed we had to cancel. Sorry, Kathy. I hope you get to go there soon when Australia opens up. Kelly points out the coffee tour is pretty fun. That's of Koloa Town. Koloa Town. I love the souvenirs there. And Kathy wants to know if I did not jump. No, I was. I'm a wimp when it comes to those things. And then Kurt answers the Kauai versus Maui discussion to say that Kurt says there's less to do on Kauai than Maui, but it's more beautiful than Maui, assuming you can get to those spots that perhaps are more beautiful. All right. And my Japanese comprehension is really poor, but I love the star, the happy face, and the smiley face. So thank you very much. And I love your cat emoji. Okay, so there's another waterfall called Opaka'a Falls, but I like Wailua Falls better because it's closer. You can also do some water activities around here. Kauai has Hawaii's only navigable river, so you can take like a boat tour of it. Now, speaking of beaches, because I like to talk about beaches, there is a beach over here on the East Coast called Lydgate Beach Park, and while most of this eastern coast is rocky and windy, big waves, not really great beach stuff, Lydgate Beach Park is pretty good because if you notice these two little things right here, it's got these two protected areas for swimming that I want to show you from down on the ground.
But one of the best beaches for ultra-protected swimming is Lihue Beach Park. It's on the east shore, and it is super protected because it has a big rock thing around the whole area where you can swim. There's 2 pools. There's the adult pool and the KK pool, or the kids pool. But as you can see here, the waves are really, really choppy. It's really, really windy, and so it's nice to get in that protected thing to swim and not have to worry about the waves and the pounding surf. Lihue Beach also has lifeguards, bathrooms, plenty of parking, picnic areas, and for the little kiddos, a pretty big children's playground.
Yeah, but Kauai is definitely one of these islands of microclimates. So, like that same day where it was like super windy over there on the Coconut Coast, the East Coast, down in the South Shore by Poipu Beach, it was sunny, no wind at all. So that Poipu Beach really, I think, is some of the best beach weather down there on the South Shore. Now, I mentioned most people live here, so there's kind of a neat commercial district around Kuhio Highway. That's Route 56. There's a neat old town centered here around Old Kapa'a Town. Also has a kind of a neat beachfront path that you can walk on. So let's take a look at that down to the ground too.
Kauai has lots of old, quaint, historic towns. My favorite of them is this one. It's Old Kapa'a Town. And the thing to know about these towns is they often have one night a month or a certain night a week. They stay open late and have festivals. In Old Kapa'a Town, it is the first Saturday of every month. The stores, restaurants are open late, 5 to 9 p.m. So there's special stands set up. There's musicians. Maybe you can hear some drums in the background. Very lively. So if you're staying near one of these historic towns, check out what their late night a month they stay open. The one that we went to, we didn't go to the late night one, we just went there at night, was Hanapepe Town. And at night, that historic town, it is a ghost town. And I think Hanapepe Town is a ghost town, but at night, extra ghost town. And after you're done exploring Old Kapa'a Town, if you're here in the daytime, you can visit the beach. It's just 2 blocks over, and it's also got a beachfront sidewalk, so you can walk over there too.
Okay, so we've explored a few of the shores now of Kauai. We've checked out the area by the airport. We've checked out the South Shore. We've checked out the West Coast. We've checked out the Nepali coast. So we got one coast left, which is the North Shore of Kauai. And one of the most popular attractions here on the North Shore is this lighthouse. It's a lighthouse that was built in 1913. You can take tours inside, not due to COVID, but eventually you can. You can go see the point. You can kind of see great views from there because it's on this little promontory that sticks out. You have to make a reservation to go. You have to make a reservation on their website. They cost $1. They're just trying to manage the number of people that go in, but if you're going to Kauai and you want to check out that lighthouse, make sure you make a reservation. Now, most of the resorts on this part of the island are in the little neighborhood here of Princeville, and so I mentioned there's a Princeville resort here that's pretty nice. There's also a Westin, a Wyndham, Westin, and a few number of resorts over here. Here's the Westin. So you'll find lots of hotels in this area and like a golf course, but like most of the things to like maybe eat, restaurants, and also the good beach around here is just down here in Honolai, the town of Honolai, and also Honolai Bay. But there's to get here, there's like a 1-lane bridge that you cross, so you do have to be aware of that. But let me show you what this bay looks like also down on the ground.
The other big sandy beach with easy access on the North Shore is Honolai Bay. This bay right here, it's a big crescent-shaped bay. There's like 4 different beaches that are on it. It's famous because movies were shot here. The best place to park if you're coming here is at the Honolai Pavilion Beach Park. There's bathrooms, a lifeguard tower, a parking lot right there, and you can access the whole bay. Down this way, there's a famous pier on the bay. In the summer, it's calm for swimming. In the winter, it's a popular boogie boarding and surfing spot. And this beach also, North Shore, I will say, it's pretty natural. So there's a bunch of stuff that's like washed up on it and logs and sticks, but I think that gives it the appeal of the natural and rugged North Shore. If the beach at the St. Regis, which is just up the hill behind me, seemed too manicured for you, well, come down the hill to Honolai Beach. Honolai Beach is very natural, and all these things were things that I found on the beach. I found some bamboo, I found a stick, I found a coconut, and I found a palm frond. And I didn't even put it like this. And apparently at this beach, you can actually park right on the sand. Just to the side of the pier, there were tons of cars parked right on the beach. That makes for extra plenty of parking.
Yeah, and on that note about movies being made there, Ernst has a very nice area. Too bad they made a movie with Nick Cage in it. Where's my map? Clearly says that from a positive way, that it was featured in the movie Honeymoon in Vegas. And Trip Hacks DC, enjoying the video today because it's got a good map. Definitely Google Earth makes a good map. Kurt says this is fantastic. We went for our anniversary 17 years ago and are planning on returning in a year or two. Thank you very much for this detailed map with videos. My pleasure, Kurt. I hope it helps you plan your next trip. Adam says there were some mudslides last spring that caused road closures and specific traffic patterns. Make sure to check Hawaii Transportation website for the most up-to-date road closure information. That's a great tip, Adam. Thank you for that. All right, and then looking just to the rest of the North Shore, the development of it kind of peters out and the road ends right here. You will find a lot of other great beaches that aren't as easy to access as Honolai is. But if you're willing to walk a bit, you'll find some good ones over here. And then that brings you to the Napali coast. So that is our tour of the island. Fellow explorers that have been to Kauai that are on What Did I Miss? Let me know. And if you're enjoying this so far, definitely drop some likes for the Yellow Productions crew. We're not done because we're going to enter Q&A time. I'm also going to show you one of the submissions to our summer travel contest, and I'm going to give away a Yellow Productions crew t-shirt to a lucky viewer today. Somebody who's been on towards the beginning, because you got to have heard something that I've said and then answer my question at the end. But I give away shirts in every live stream that I do.
Fellow explorers, it is now Q&A time. If you've got a question, I've got an answer.
All right, explorers, it's time for Q&A. So if you asked one earlier and I didn't answer it, go ahead and ask it again. Make sure you put a question mark at the end of it so that I know it is a question, and we'll dive in. Kelly seconds, I've been many times but never been such a nice, thorough live map. Well, thank you, Kelly. I appreciate it. This is only for the truly detail-oriented that really love maps. Jenny Fide said, we just watched Honeymoon in Vegas with our teenage son. We all loved it. Well, that is great to hear. Jenny, and Wu Tai says, stream, lovely, awesome, stream. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to take another sip of my rainbow kombucha here, and while y'all are thinking up what questions you have, I'm going to share with you the latest entry to the summer return to travel competition, where I've asked you to send me yellow things, yellow pictures, videos of you wearing yellow shirts, or any yellow things or pandas to put back here. Well, the entry that came in this week is a really awesome entry. It is from Rob from Trip Hacks DC, and he put together a video of the yellow things to see in Washington, D.C. This is like the spirit of the Yellow Productions return to summer travel competition. And I should mention the winners of this are going to get some limited edition Yellow Productions hoodies. So let's take a look for 2 minutes at Rob's submission to the Yellow Productions return to summer travel competition.
Hello, my name is Rob. I'm a tour guide and the founder of Trip Hacks DC. I've got on my yellow shirt and I want to show you all of my favorite yellow things here in Washington, D.C. So, let's get started. Of course, one of the best ways to get around D.C. when you visit is on the metro. And if you're flying in through Reagan National Airport, the yellow line is extremely convenient. You can catch a yellow line train at the airport, and in about 20 minutes, you'll be right downtown. And if you get off here at the archive station, then right across the street are some famous historic documents. And a few blocks down the street are many of the museums on the National Mall. Now, maybe you want to take a little day trip, and one of my favorite places to go is Old Town Alexandria. You could take the metro, but it's a lot more fun to take the water taxi, which is a big yellow boat. I'm at the Transit Pier at the wharf, right next to the Anthem Theater, which is where you'll come to pick up your water taxi. My best tip is to make sure to snag a seat upstairs and outside for the best views. After all that exploring, you might be hungry, and a great place to come for a snack is right behind me at Yellow the Cafe. The door isn't especially well marked, so it's just one of those places you kinda gotta know about. They have delicious Levantine-inspired pastries and coffee. Today I got a huge morning bun, and an iced coffee. So good. And I brought it here to the nearby Yards Park to have myself a little picnic. And I hope you'll check out all of these yellow things the next time you're in Washington, D.C. Enjoy your trip.
Rob, that was very cool. Sorry, he said enjoy your trip. I cut him off right at the end, but I want to give you some applause there, Rob. That's the second video submission. Gilberto submitted the first one. Looking forward to more. Submissions are open through September 15th. And Rob, I loved how you clearly thought that whole thing through, because your scenes at different places just continue to tell that yellow story. So that was very neat. Everybody, please give Rob from Trip Hacks DC a round of applause. And if you want to check out some neat Washington DC videos, then just search for Trip Hacks DC. And if you're going to DC, Rob can also be your tour guide there in person. So I think that'd be pretty cool. Adam asked if we went to any luau's on Kauai. We saw the one at the Grand Hyatt Kauai because it was just at the same hotel we were at. We don't really do luau's all that much, so we did not do that. But I guess thank you for the tip on the Smith family luau. We'll perhaps consider that one for a future one if we want to do a luau. Ernst asks, hey Chris, any good burger place around the In-N-Out class? Bubba's Burgers is my recommendation for burgers. And Rob says, wow, thanks for showing it, and we're seeing the claps. Great job, Rob. Well done, Rob. Alex, great video by Trip Hacks DC. So thank you all for showing Rob the love he deserves. James gives a tip to say, hey, when in Kauai, be careful about the chickens that are everywhere when you drive, so not to hit this. True, the chickens totally are everywhere. Doug says, I'm leaving for Oahu Wednesday, then Kauai, September 1 to 7. Any updates? Probably not, since my What's It Like to Travel to Hawaii video. I don't think there's a ton of significant changes since then. You know, you still got to do the whole, you either need to have a COVID-19 vaccination, get tested. Restaurants are at some limited capacity. Kauai, they're currently at 75%. You still got to wear your mask everywhere inside. So not everything's done, but done. Not everything is like reopen again. Done. Like done as in like we're done with the pandemic. Is the pandemic done yet? Are you all done with the pandemic? That's what we should, like, when can the pandemic just be done? That's what I want to know. And we can get back to that. The Australian Health Show asks if I'm still in Kauai. I am not currently in Kauai. No, so I am not still there. But maybe there's some other people in the chat that are still there. When I do a live stream, I'm always back here at my home studio, because trying to live stream on location, people really complain. But the Australian Health Show asks, how's my life? My life is good. I can't complain. I can complain about the pandemic, but I can't complain about life. We have been enjoying our life. Martin says, I have a question. Who didn't hit the thumbs up button? Who did not hit the thumbs up button? There's 91 people on, there's 58 likes. So if you're enjoying this content and you've not hit the like button, please do so, because every like goes to feed a piece of premium bamboo to the Yellow Productions crew. You see those pandas back there? Those pandas back there are hungry. They don't feed themselves, so please give them a piece of bamboo by hitting that thumbs up button. I and they really appreciate it. Narrow Road says, I love Kapa'a, centrally located, hometown feel, and less expensive. Thank you for the tip. Yeah, I think you will find some of the cheaper hotels around there instead of the expensive mega resorts. And Wu Tai says, I hear that Hawaii has the best types of food. I think the islands do have really great food. Like OC Girl and I are foodies. Maybe OC Girl even more than I am a foodie. And we always have just kind of an eat-a-thon when we go there. I will say that I felt like in Kauai it was a bit more challenging to find good food just because they're smaller and they have more limited hours. Like when our flight landed at, 7, like trying to find dinner at 8 o'clock was actually like hard. There just weren't that many places that are open. And a lot of the best places to eat in Kauai are like food trucks and hole-in-the-walls, literally hole-in-the-walls, like places that it's just a window in a wall that you order from. So, if you're somebody that likes that 5-star dining, so now you're going to find a lot of food truck dining, hole-in-the-wall dining, picnic dining, good burgers, good shrimp. Dinosaur Danny wants to know if there's any trips to Vegas planned. Not currently. Our next trip planned is to Vancouver. Point Traveler wants to know if the Grand Hyatt Kauai is better than the Hyatt Waikiki. different. I mean, I think as probably like just though a class of hotel goes, I would say the Grand Hyatt is a better hotel. It felt more well maintained than the Hyatt Waikiki. The Hyatt Waikiki felt fairly run down. I will say one thing the Grand Hyatt in Kauai had in common with the Hyatt in Waikiki is like really long walks to rooms. As I showed it to you earlier, it's this like sprawling mega complex, and so from the self-parking to the room I think was like a 15-minute walk, but we enjoyed the location. I think next time I would like to stay at the Sheraton more on Poipu Beach, so that we just stayed at a hotel that had its own beach, or maybe that Westin in Princeville. That looks like it has a neat beach in front of it too, but we like the South Shore. I mean, if we were going to go again, I'd probably try to, as I mentioned, split some time between the two coasts. Alex wants to know if Bubba Burgers is better than Teddy's. It's different. It's different because it's all beef and no toppings. I really like Teddy's because I like the pineapple in it, but I think the beef at Bubba's is better because I think the beef at Bubba's is the Kauai raised beef. Kelly says also got to try Tip Top, the best pancakes. What pancakes do you like at Tip Top, Kelly? And Wu Tai says, I need to find a way to Hawaii. May go to Arizona soon for vacation. Well, I'd recommend you fly, as the way you could swim or kayak, but flying might be the better way to get there.
Yes, it's the time you've been waiting for. It's time for the giveaway.
All right, fellow explorers, it's time for the giveaway. We've been talking about Bubba's Burgers, which is the Kauai Burger Institution. And to win a Yellow Productions cruise shirt that I give away every live stream, you have to answer this question, which is, what does Bubba's Burgers not recommend that you get on your burger? What toppings does Bubba's Burger not recommend you get on your burger? You have to be the first one to name both toppings, and then you'll win a shirt. These are the toppings that they will give to you if you want, but they will charge you $1 for them. While you're answering that question, we'll take a couple more chats. CJ says, I literally just booked my trip yesterday, doing 5 nights on the Big Island, 4 nights in Kauai, 2 nights at the Hilton Garden Inn, and 2 nights at the Grand Hyatt. Sounds good. Hope you enjoy it. You've made the split already. Ernst says, do they require proof of vaccination at restaurants? As a general rule, no, they don't. So, you know, Gilberto does so good at answering these questions, and many of you say, guys, you need to give me a chance to win as well. And so, Gilberto, I want to let you know you were the first one to win. So I want to rack that up, a point for you, Gilberto. You get a second credit, but I also want to give someone else a chance too. So I'm going to give away 2. Gilberto often makes me generous, but Gilberto's amazing. I don't know how Gilberto types those out so fast. He must be a machine. So, okay, looking up in the chat, our second winner is, here we go, Ayano. Congratulations.
Yes. And now we have a winner chicken dinner.
The answer is indeed lettuce and tomato. So, Ayano, well done. Send me an email to chris@yellowproductions.com. There's a dash in there. You'll find the link in the description below, and I will get a Yellow Productions cruise shirt right on the way to you. So, joint winners today, Gilberto and Ayano. We'll take a few more comments before we wrap this up. CJ says, unfortunately, there's absolutely no car rentals currently for my dates in October in Kauai. That's sad. Maybe check out Turo or something as a car sharing site. I would not go to Kauai without a car. And Gilberto points out that it is his 7th win. Gilberto is going for the winning streak. I think, you know, you're on. Gilberto must be like listening to me here, like, I don't know, he's got access to my scripts or something like that. He doesn't. He just pays intense attention and types it out the fastest. Ernst asks, Chris, how are the airport lounges? Do you visit any good restaurant at the airport? In Kauai? No. The lounges in Hawaii are just pretty lousy to begin with at any of the airports, frankly. Honolulu, which has the most lounges, they're all pretty lousy, if you ask me. I like lounges, but I don't like any of the ones in Hawaii. And Richard says, on my computer, Gilberto's answer appeared 15 seconds before you asked the question. Yeah, Gilberto must have like the connection right into YouTube servers to get like the stream faster than everywhere else. And then Red Map Media gives a tip to say, keep looking for cars every day. That's a good tip, Red Map Media. Well, fellow explorers, it's been a pleasure hanging out with y'all today. If you're headed to Kauai, I hope you enjoy it. If you want to dive into more Kauai videos, you will find links in the description to them. Now, if you're always wondering, Chris, when is your next live stream? You should sign up for the Yellow Productions email update list. Head over to update.yellow-productions.com, and a day or two before, I will always send you an email with the subject and when it's going to be. Next week, the live stream is going to be likely on Thursday next week, because I got some things to do on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so I think we'll have the live stream on Thursday next week. But to be sure, sign up for that email list and you'll know a couple days before. Don wants to know best cabanas. And the Timbers Hotel, the really expensive one, probably has pretty good cabanas. Also, that Princeville Resort has a lot of seats out on the beach because it kind of has a little semi-private beach down there. Wu Tai asks if I've flown Hawaiian Airlines. I've flown Hawaiian since I've United, like Premier Platinum status or something. I really like to fly with them. I like the extra legroom. I like the free checked bags. Hawaiian, I have to pay for bags. It's a decent airline, but I don't like the inter-island flights. Like, I've done the puddle jumper between Kauai and Oahu and those sorts of things, and I don't like the inter-island terminal. I don't like the puddle jumper. I think if Hawaiian Airlines is the airline that you've got going out of your city and the price is reasonable, go take them. There's nothing I ostensibly hate about them, other than I don't like paying the bag fees, and I don't have to pay them with United because I fly United a lot. Don Rio says, Chris, we are going to next month to get married and staying at Kauai. Any tips to get free upgrades? Maybe just tell them you're on your anniversary or you're on your wedding trip. I mean, I think if you say, like, hey, we do this, is there anything we'd appreciate anything you can do to make our trip special? I think hotels often eat that up and try to help you out for your special trip. All right. Well, fellow explorers, as usual, I won't say goodbye because I'm going to see you all in the next video.